Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm Chad Booth. When you live in the desert, one of the main topics of conversation around the water cooler is indeed water itself. And when you live in the thirsty southwestern part of the state of Utah, the future of water becomes something that you spend a lot of time contemplating. A new pipeline is in the process of being approved and built that will bring water from Lake Powell over to southwestern Utah and the three counties that make up that area of our state. Here with a story on the background of that project and the reason that it's coming into being is a new reporter for our program. We'd like to welcome Dan Pope.
It's been said that when there is enough water in the community, there are plenty of problems for the people to deal with. But when the water is scarce, it becomes the #1 issue. And this is what water managers are having to plan for as they look for new water sources and new water as they plan for the future.
We've essentially doubled our population every 10 to 12 years for a long time. And as you look at our limited resources here and the demands on them, it's clear that if we're going to meet and sustain our economy and provide a future for coming generations, that we have to bring additional water resource into this county.
It's a simple problem. The more a city like St. George grows, the more homes are built, more businesses, more thirsty residents and lawns. The demand on the water supply increases. In an arid landscape like this one, where very little rain falls annually, reservoirs are constructed to store water for those not-so-rainy days. However, when there are no more sources of water to develop, but growth continues, another source must be found. So community leaders are looking to tap into a body of water that already exists, but is over 100 miles away, Lake Powell.
It is a pipeline project for the most part, which would take water out of Lake Powell, bring it in a large pipeline into Washington County and into our existing water infrastructure system. We've looked at lots of other options. We've looked at going up into the middle of the state and importing water, and it was our view as we analyzed that Lake Powell was a much more secure source of water and would be far less controversial than trying to import water out of some of the northern water basins.
The Colorado River Compact was signed in 1922 and divided the water of the river between the upper division states of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming, with the lower division states of Nevada, Arizona, and California. The upper and lower each enjoy about 50% of the water from the river, which of course includes Lake Powell as the major repository. Utah currently uses about 28% of the total upper basin allotment. The pipeline would draw more water than Utah usually claims, which makes the other states downstream a little nervous. Leaders in favor of the project argue that the water belongs to Utah in the first place and should be used here for the good of growing communities.
Clearly is Utah's water, which we have a right to and would expect to use it in Utah for our economy. It makes no sense for us to allow a Utah resource to leave this state when it's so vital to our long-term needs of our future generations and our economy.
The project is currently in the environmental analysis process, a time of study that could take years. Groups who oppose the plan range from individuals who want to halt the growth of the Southwest to states who feel their water rights may be infringed upon if the pipeline is approved. Local community leaders are hoping for a decision sometime in 2013, which would allow for construction to begin. If this timetable holds, the project could be completed sometime in the next 10 to 12 years.
Well, I think the project guarantees the future of Washington County. I think without it, you're eventually going to hit a wall where you have to make some very difficult choices as you look at the impact of inadequate water supplies on your economy.
And for cities like St. George, the stakes are high. Planning for the future of water is extremely important, not only for the residents who live here now, but for the ones who will come in the future. For the County Seat, I'm Dan Pope.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. We will continue the discussion of water in southern Utah and the somewhat controversial pipeline to connect Lake Powell to the Washington County, St. George area. We'll be back with the County Seat in just a minute.
I didn't order this. Compliments of the lady in gold. Hello, trouble.
Anything worth doing in this quiet little town? You look like the kind of man that could show a girl a good time.
You You strike me as the kind of girl that likes a manicure and a massage.
How's that for a manicure?
I hate golf.
I was hoping for something a little more vigorous.
Vigorous, I can do.
And I thought you'd be riding side saddle.
What? I'm gonna regret this. How about that manicure?
The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration. SITLA manages 3.5 million acres of Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.